If you want some quick rules of thumb for how to optimize your point strategy, this video is for you. I put up a question box on Instagram asking what you would like some quick frameworks and rules of thumb for. So, here's how to break down some of the most complicated points questions into two-step rules or three-part rules or something like that. So, let's jump right in. All right, how do I know what card to get next? So, especially for beginners, I recommend working backwards. If you haven't heard me say this before, it is what I always recommend. So, before you just willy-nilly go out and get a whole bunch of cards, pick the destination that you want to go to, figure out what routes you can take to fly over there from your home airport. I personally like using the free website flightconnections.com in order to do that. And then step 3, you're going to price out how many points you need in order to take those flights. You can use a free resource like Rome.travel or pointsyeah.com to price that out. You can also use something like PointMe or Seats.aero, but you're going to want to figure out approximately how many points you're going to need to fly over there, whether in economy or business class. And then step 4 is that you are going to figure out what cards can earn you those type of points so that you can book your trip. If those 4 steps sound like a lot, don't forget, we do free credit card consultations where you can just go to geobreezetravel.com/consultations. We will do that 4-step analysis for you completely for free and recommend some cards that fit best for your personalized goals, budget, and lifestyle. How do I know what card to use when? All right, so this you can do in 3 steps. Plan A, use whatever credit card you just got that you're still working on the minimum spend on, because especially in the beginning, you are going to get the majority of your points from those sign-up bonuses, so you want to make sure you never miss meeting a sign-up bonus by meeting that minimum spend. That's plan A. Plan B, there is a free app called Card Pointers. You can just manually tell it, here are the cards I have, here's what I'm trying to buy, and it will make recommendations for you on the best card to use from your wallet to make that purchase to earn the most valuable points. And you don't need to give it any of your personal information or anything like that. You just manually tell it, here are the cards I have, here's what I'm trying to buy. Don't need to link it up to your Amex profile or anything like that. And then plan C, if you don't want to go through any of that and you're like, I just want to be one card and done, what do I get? Get something that earns at least 2 points per dollar everywhere. So something like the Capital One Venture, Capital One Venture X, Amex Blue Business Plus card. Those are going to earn at least 2 points per dollar everywhere. And those are really good miscellaneous cards to use if you're like, I forgot what card to use. Can't really go wrong with any of those. When and how often should I cancel credit cards after I meet the sign-up bonus? So if you want to get into the card churning game where you're opening cards, closing cards, reopening cards, wait at least 12 months after you open a card before you try to close it down or change it to a different card product or something like that, or else credit card companies will get mad. So that's the first rule of thumb. Always wait at least 12 months. There are 2 possible reasons why you might want to close down a card. Reason number 1 would be the cost of opening the card, or that is the annual fee, is higher than the value of the bonuses that you're getting out of the card each year. If that's the case, where the cost outweighs the benefit, go ahead and close or downgrade the card. Or reason number 2 would be if you want to qualify for the sign-up bonus again. That would be for something like most Chase cards, you can do that every 24 months. With the Chase Sapphire cards, you can do that every 48 months. But those would be the 2 reasons why you might want to close or downgrade a card in the first place. Before you close or downgrade a card, plan A. Ask for a retention bonus from the credit card company because they might be willing to just waive the annual fee for you, or they might just give you an offer like, here's some bonus points if you pay the annual fee and keep the card open for another year. We have a whole script for that in our free course, which you can download at geobreezetravel.com/free course. That's plan A, is ask for a retention bonus. Plan B, if they say there's no retention bonus available, instead of just canceling your card, try to downgrade it to a free or low-cost version of the same card. So for example, with like a Chase Sapphire Preferred, you could downgrade it to a Chase Freedom Flex or a Chase Freedom Unlimited. With the Hilton Surpass card, you could downgrade it to the no annual fee Hilton Honors card. With the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card, you can downgrade that to the Marriott Bonvoy Bold. Most of the cards have some kind of low-cost or no-cost option. But that will at least keep the credit line available to you, which is good for your credit score. If there is no low-cost or no-cost version of the credit card available, then you can go ahead and cancel it. But before you do that, make sure you ask the credit card company if they can take that credit line on that card and transfer it to one of your other credit cards that you have. So for example, with Southwest, there is no cost option. and you might want to turn the card to go for Companion Pass every 2 years. So you could just say, hey, can you move my Southwest credit line to my Chase Sapphire Preferred card or something like that, just to keep a large credit line available, which is good for your credit score. I struggle with deciding on a location to travel other than Paris or London. What do I do? So if you have a lot of credit card points already banked up with a specific airline like United, Air France, British Airways, American Airlines, Delta, something like that, make it a priority to try to get through those first, because airline points are a lot more at risk of getting devalued versus transferable credit card points that you can move to a variety of different airlines. So if you already have some points with an airline, try to use those first and then see where you can go with those points. I personally like to use the website flightconnections.com, which is completely free. You can just type in your home airport and it'll show you all the different places that you can fly to direct from your home airport and what airlines you can use to fly there. So you can kind of use that to narrow down what you can do based off of the points you already have. Also, I like to use Wikipedia. So if you just search Wikipedia for your airport, like Kansas City Airport or Wikipedia DFW Airport, Wikipedia LAX Airport, it will show you all of the different airlines that service your home airport, plus where you can fly to using those airlines. So I like to use that for some trip inspiration as well. I want to travel, but I don't know where. How can I find cheap points deals and then work towards them? Here on the GeoBreeze Travel YouTube channel, we have tons of different step-by-step tutorials, and the fantastic thing about YouTube is that they do have a search function, so you can just search GeoBreeze Travel and then wherever you want to go. GeoBreeze Travel Europe, GeoBreeze Travel Asia, GeoBreeze Travel Africa, and we probably have tutorials for you there. And then you can kind of split your screen, watch the tutorial on one half of your screen, try to recreate what I'm doing on the other half of the screen, and that will get you a lot more familiarized with how the different websites work as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the GeoBreeze Travel newsletter, because there we are releasing a free points deal of the week every week in the newsletter. It's completely free, so that gives you some inspiration on some of the different cool things that you can do with points as well. How do I know if a points deal that I find is a good deal? So there's this whole thing with cents per point where it's like the cash price divided by the points price, and you should aim for at least 2 cents per point or something like that. It's a lot to type out, and I found that the math just confuses a lot of people. So my rule of thumb for this is the 10K rule. And what that means is when you are flying from, let's say, Chicago over to Germany, that's probably an 8-hour flight in the air. I would say you should be willing to pay no more than 10,000 points per hour of flight time in business class. So if it's an 8-hour flight, I would be willing to pay up to 80,000 points for business class, one person, one way, for that flight. Don't include any of like the layover times or anything in the calculation. If it's 8 hours in the air, up to 80,000 points. And if it's an economy flight, then I would say it's a 5K rule, where for 8 hours to fly in economy, I would be willing to pay up to 40,000 points for that flight. And oftentimes you can find deals that are way better than that. The 10K rule or the 5K rule is just kind of my upper bound to make sure that you don't accidentally pay way too much for a flight. If you are looking for some shortcuts for how to find great flight and hotel deals faster, listen up. I am hosting a free live training on the best tools and techniques to find award travel sweet spots faster. So if you are interested in the abridged playbook for how to turn your everyday expenses into as many points as possible, and how to maximize those points when it comes time to redeem for luxury trips, you can register for the free live training at geobreezetravel.com/webinar. I only host these types of free live trainings once every few months, and recordings are not available afterwards, because we usually talk about some stuff that I'm not supposed to post on the internet. So if you miss it, you miss out. Again, you can register for free at geobreezetravel.com/webinar, and I will see you there. How do I minimize FOMO on different sign-up bonuses? Like, I just signed up for one card, but then I saw another card had a better offer, and now I feel bad. I say this with as much grace as possible for this rule of thumb, but figure out what's triggering the FOMO and then see if you can mute that or block that for just a little bit. And that could be somebody's Instagram account. If you're just getting phone notifications all the time, pause your notifications, something like that. And here's where I would do another cost-benefit analysis, where if you're like, oh, but I actually get a lot of value out of like having my phone ping me all the time and all the notifications, or else I miss deals. Okay, if you're getting more benefit than it costs with attention and just kind of the icky feeling of FOMO, go ahead and keep them on. Personally, I mute a lot of accounts where all their stories are just like, here's a credit card link, here's a credit card link, here's a new offer with a credit card link. I've muted most of those. I don't know if this is like a spicy take or whatever, but I find that I have a lot more attention to then allocate towards actually finding redemptions or doing something else instead of just feeling like I missed out because I'm scrolling through other people's stories. Are there any offers that are pretty predictable where they happen annually or with some kind of predictable cadence? The Built promos are going to happen every month, and with Rent Day, with Built, they are going to have 2 points per dollar on anything that's not rent spend, 4 points per dollar if you're using your Built card for travel, 6 points per dollar if you're using your Built card for dining, and they have a lot of different transfer bonuses as well. It doesn't happen every month, but I would check every month just to see, is something happening? Because oftentimes you can get 75%, 100%, up to 150% transfer bonus with really, really good airline partners like Air Canada, Virgin Atlantic, Air France. I think they've done Emirates in the past. So that's something that happens pretty regularly. Another one that's pretty seasonal is the Southwest Companion Pass offer, where every December or January, I usually encourage people, if they're gonna go for Southwest Companion Pass, that's the time to do it. And then thirdly, it's not promised every year, but Marriott has been doing their Double Elite Nights promo every year for the past 3 years. So if you are trying to fast track your Marriott status, I would definitely look into that promotion. Just getting started with points, where do I start? So it depends if you are trying to earn points or redeem points or something else. And there are so many different resources out on the internet that you can easily find yourself going down a deep rabbit hole on. So what we did was we put together a short, sweet, free quiz. You can find it at geobreezetravel.com/quiz. I think it's got 3 questions. It's completely free. And then based on your responses of what you're trying to do with earning points or redeeming points or something like that, we have it all automated in this decision tree where we'll just point you to the best resource based on what it is you're trying to do. And you can find that at geobreezetravel.com/quiz. When should I use miles for upgrading versus just purchasing first class or business class? So my rule of thumb is to just try to find the business class flight deal that you want rather than depending on upgrading later. If you're okay with being an economy for the long haul, and you're like, well, it'd be nice to get upgraded, but I'm totally fine, I just want to go to Japan or France or wherever it is you want to go ahead and book the economy deal. But if you're like, this is going to be a miserable 12 hours going over to Asia, I need to be in business class or else I would prefer to just not take the flight, then don't book it in economy and try to upgrade later. Especially for beginners, especially if you have no status with any airline, instead of booking economy now, trying to upgrade later, just try to find the business class deal that you actually want to book. Maybe be a little bit flexible with routing or travel dates or something like that, and then go ahead and book that deal. With the Built Day 150% transfer bonuses, should I speculatively move my points? Do not speculatively transfer your points. I know those deals are amazing. They're the best transfer bonuses around, but especially for beginners, I would say don't speculatively move your points just because it's a really good transfer bonus. The only exception to this rule would be if you are constantly traveling anyway, like you're taking a trip every 3 or 4 months, and you can easily predict that you're going to redeem something on that airline within the next 12 months. So if you're like, I don't have a trip booked right now, but every trip that I end up booking, I tend to redeem through Air Canada, and something's going to come up in the next 6 months, then yeah, you can go ahead and transfer it. But if you're like, I take 2 trips a year, and like sometimes I do it through Air Canada, sometimes it's through Singapore, sometimes it's through Virgin Atlantic, sometimes it's with United, I would not speculatively book your points because then your points are stuck there for over a year and you're at risk of devaluation if that happens. What airline is the best one to earn points with within each alliance? If you're talking about which airline should be your main airline for paying for flights so that you can earn status and points, I tend to favor American Airlines and Alaska just because those points, when you're redeeming them, are so much more valuable, I've found, versus United or Delta miles. That being said, if you're only taking a few trips a year anyway and you're not a road warrior who's traveling every month or every couple weeks, I would say don't worry about it. When booking cash deals, just pick whichever airline either gives you the best deal or the best experience, whichever one you like to fly the most, just pick that one, because for the vast majority of people, you're not going to fly enough to get status anyway, so you might as well just book the flight that you want or the one that saves you money. At what point is status worth it? So, for the vast majority of people, again, if you're only taking a couple big trips a year and you're not a road warrior, status is not going to be worth it. The cost of trying to obtain status is going to be much higher for you versus the benefits that you actually get from free breakfast or any upgrades or something like that. And imagine if you were spending all year chasing Hyatt status just for your one big Hyatt trip of the year and then you don't actually get an upgrade. You're going to be super disappointed. So instead of chasing status, when it comes to airlines, again, just try to find the business class deal that you actually want to book and then book that deal outright instead of playing status upgrade games, especially for international trips. And then when it comes to hotels, if you're trying to get upgraded with Hyatt or something like that, instead of chasing status for yourself, just make a friend with a Hyatt Globalist and then have them upgrade you using the guest of honor benefits. If you do want to get upgraded on hotel stays for paid stays instead of point stays where you're like, all of those points nonsense is really confusing, I just want to get my hotel stay upgraded, we do have a way for you to do that with paid stays. So how it works is you would just pay the standard rate for like a base room, and then we have connections with different hotel programs where you'll get upgraded upon availability. You'll be treated like you have status even if you have zero status and you've never stayed with that hotel chain before. Complimentary breakfast, food and beverage credits. All you need to do is go to geobreezetravel.com/hotel upgrade, tell us about your travel dates, where you want to stay, and then we'll send you a quote which should have the price of a standard room, and it'll also tell you what benefits would come with that hotel stay. When should I book through something like the Capital One portal to make use of the Venture X annual credit versus booking with points? Generally, I would say that if you have a lot of points, but also a lot of different cards with free night certificates and the $50 hotel credit with Chase Sapphire Preferred, $300 credit with Capital One Venture X, $300 credit with Chase Sapphire Reserve, all those different things, prioritize using up the credits and free night certificates first, because those are going to expire and they're not going to roll over. Your points generally will roll over from year to year, so if you're like, it's about even, should I use the credit first, should I use the points first? Use the credit first. Should we buy points when they're on sale? The rule of thumb for this is only buy points if, 1, you already know how you're going to turn around and use those points on a redemption, and 2, if the cost of buying the points is less than the cost of just buying the flight outright. I hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any other points questions that you would like a framework for. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I think you will enjoy this video next.